It was a dark moment in British politics. Jo Cox, an opposition Labour MP, was fatally shot and stabbed outside her constituency office. She'd campaigned to remain in the EU. Her killer had shouted, "Keep Britain independent," as he carried out the attack. Police have warned people not to inflame tensions caused by Brexit, but politics has rarely been so toxic, especially for women. Caroline Spelman was an MP for 22 years. Her stance on Brexit led to months of rape and death threats. She carries a panic button and her children's bedrooms have steel doors.
I asked my male colleagues whether they also get threats of a sexual nature, threats to rape or being referred to by their genitalia. And I mean, they're horrified. Why is it then in our culture that this has been allowed to happen?
Spelman is one of a slew of prominent female MPs standing down at the next election, including the former Home Secretary, Amber Rudd, all because of abuse and intimidation.
This, of course, is where many politicians begin their careers, knocking on doors, meeting supporters and, of course, opponents. But you'd rarely find a single politician that would do this alone these days, many citing fear of violence and abuse.
Despite the risks, Olga FITZROY is campaigning to become an MP in South London. She blames an all-boys network of MPs that includes the Prime Minister of fuelling misogyny.
Boris Johnson has been really irresponsible in his language. He's called Muslim women letterboxes, and he just keeps coming out with things like that. And because he's a privileged white man who's very well protected, he doesn't face any of the issues that some of the female politicians and female politicians of colour face.
Politics is now full of divisive terms: traitor, betrayal, surrender. Words used in death threats to female MPs. Words also regularly used by the Prime Minister. When asked to modify his language, this is how Johnson responded.
I have to say, Mr. Speaker, I've never heard such humbug in all my life.
But Johnson can't afford to be complacent. The female vote matters.
Household names well known to female voters. They will be exiting stage left. I think female voters will notice that and they will take it seriously in terms of how they determine their vote.
Earlier this year, the MP Anna Soubry was confronted by a mob outside Parliament. It led to several arrests. Despite calls for calm, research by Cardiff and Edinburgh universities found that most Leave and Remain voters now think violence towards MPs is a price worth paying for Brexit. The findings shocked the researchers. Weeks away from the election, the relationship between politicians and people has never looked so troubled. Neave, Al Jazeera, London.